That's all I feel. I feel so alone. My mom is currently the screensaver on my phone. It's been 5 days since we buried her. 5 days since her funeral. So many things. So many things I wanted to do for my mom. There's so many things I wanted to do with my mom. So many places I wanted to go with my mom. We were planning a safari for my mom before she passed away. I was so excited because I was about to get my green card. I just had my interview on the same week she passed away. And all I keep thinking is that, Mom, we could have waited 2 more days. So many things are running on my head. My mom needed this surgery. There was nothing we could have done. It was a hernia. It was making her uncomfortable. She could only take like a spoon of food, and then after the spoon of food, she would go to the bathroom. And then she told my sister that, there was a point in time where I was having blood in my stool. And when somebody you love dies, you just go through so many things that you feel like you should have done or could have done. But I don't know. I miss her so much. This is around the time where we used to have phone calls. She didn't wait for me to get back home. The last time I hugged my mom was 4 years ago. And that was the last time I felt how do I heal from that? I have to mourn my mom and also be a mom. And some days that is so hard because it's just hard. I worry about my sisters and my brother. I worry about my dad. And right now when somebody tells me they're at the hospital, it's like a soft spot. And I know my mom just had so many complications. She had high blood pressure. That was the first thing she had. And then she had a blood clot in her lungs. And then she was very low on oxygen. When she got out of surgery, she was actually eating well, and everything looked like it was fine. And then 2 days later, complications started out of nowhere. So they had to do a CT scan. And then they also, prior to that, they had to do an echocardiogram. And then that's where they found that one side of her heart was bigger than the other one. So the blood wasn't flowing the way it was supposed to flow. Then after that, they found that she had a blood clot in her lungs. And it was really constricting her blood flow. She used to work in the market. And so my mom used to wake up very early in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning. And because of that, she would breathe in cold air. So at some point in her life, she had developed tuberculosis. She was on medication. We made sure we had her on medication. I was on top of everything medicine when it came to my mom. I just didn't think I would be saying goodbye. Oh my. Every time. So the Kenyan medical system works very differently. So every time they have to do a test, you have to make a payment. Sometimes you have to make a full payment, and sometimes you have to make a half payment. And Benjamin and I, we were on top of everything. So if they said we need $400 for this thing, we would send it immediately. All the money that we were saving to go back to Kenya with, we spent it on the hospital bills. I wanted my mom to get the best medicine, so we looked for different hospitals, and she finally chose one. She actually is the one who chose the hospital she was going to. She didn't want one specific hospital in Kenya because she felt like she wouldn't get all the treatment that she needed. So we went to different private hospitals, like through different, and then she went and got like what is it called? She went and got checked. They did tests, and also we wanted to make sure that it's the same thing that each doctor is saying. So she went through like 5 different consultations in different places, and finally she decided on a hospital, and she said, this is where I want to be treated. I was like, Mom, are you sure? And she assured me everything is good. She even, so because everything was on video call, she showed me everything on video. And true to her word, I would be able to speak to the doctors every single morning. So every morning I would be able to speak to the doctor, and they would tell me how she's doing. They would give us her vitals and everything. And so that made us very confident. And so just all of a sudden, after 2 days of her surgery, she just started having these complications. It started with just low oxygen, so they had to put her on oxygen. And then she was in pain for the most part. She was building up fluid where they had done the surgery. And so because of that pain, they had her on morphine. And so anytime she was, morphine kind of makes you loopy and tired, and just, but it takes away all the pain. So I would be on the phone with my mom until she slept. But I wanted to make sure that she wasn't in pain. So we were not even sleeping. We were just constantly on the phone. So a few days later, so it was just like a, day 1, day 2. So the first day she was in pain, she was, cognitive, like she would be able to communicate and all of those things. And then the second day, actually she started improving. My dad and I were talking about, we were now preparing, because she started looking very good. We were now preparing for her discharge, because now after the complications, everything kind of died down. So we were like, oh good, things are going well, let's prepare for her discharge. That night we're preparing for her discharge, so remember, it's morning. If it's morning here, it's nighttime there, and if it's nighttime there, it's morning here. So it was morning here, it was nighttime there when we were making the plans. Then when my dad, when the morning, which was their morning, so nighttime here, I was on the phone with my mom, and she was very weak. She was just very weak, and she wanted to be on the floor. She was like, can I just sit on the floor? And I was like, Mom, you can't sit on the floor because they have you hooked up to different things. So the nurse comes in, and she gives the nurse the phone. So I'm talking to the nurse, and then the doctor comes in, and then the doctor is like, well, your mom is low on oxygen, and her heart, like the rate of how her blood is moving isn't particularly good. And so I was like, well, what do you need to do? So she was like, we need to run more tests. And I was like, okay, let's do this real quickly. So they asked her, because remember I said with every test, you have to send money. So we had to send more money. And also it's a private hospital. So we sent more money, and she got in an ambulance. They took her to one of their special facilities. They did more tests. That's when they found one side of her heart was bigger than the other one. She had a blood clot. It was growing bigger. And there were just so many complications. And then they had to admit her into the ICU. So this now is the time when everything just became very serious. So she was admitted, and so they were hooking her up. My dad is on the video call with me. He sends me pictures and all of those. I was just like constantly on the phone. And then so day one, she's in the ICU. She was talking about how they had put the drip on her, and it was a little bit painful. So I told the doctors, can you please, like, I was on top of everything. So I told the doctors, change the drip so that she's not in pain. So they changed it to somewhere here, which makes it less painful. So she was like, now I'm okay. Everything that she wanted the doctors to do for her, she would call me. And as much as I appreciate those moments, they're so painful, because I'm still sitting here thinking, what more could I have done for my mom? The doctors were on top of everything. She did pick a hospital that they were on top of everything. Wow, you are talkative, huh? What are you trying to say? On the second day, I think that's when everything just went downhill. So my dad had called some of the pastors so that they can just pray for my mom. If you don't know our family, we pray about everything and anything. So my dad had called some of the pastors, and they were in the room. And so it was very early in the morning for me, because it was very late night for me. Yeah, it was late night because Benjamin had just gotten home from work. It was late night, and so I'm on the phone with my mom, and actually the day before that, my brother had gone to visit my mom at the hospital. As usual, so anybody who goes to visit my mom, I would tell them, you know what, when you get there, let's video call. So he had visited, they spoke, and then he did the video call. So the moment he just turned the phone, and then my mom saw me, my mom just started crying. You know how, like, sometimes when you see you yourself, like when you see your mom and something is wrong, you just start crying even more. It felt like that. It felt like she had seen me, and she just started crying. And I was like, Mom, it's okay. You're gonna be okay. So all we need is for you to get better. So right now I need you to eat. I need you to just like be hopeful and have a lot of strength. And she cried a little bit more, and then finally wiped her tears, and then I made sure she was eating. Then the phone call wasn't that long and it wasn't that short either, but once my brother left, he had gone to take some of the paper like hospital, some of the hospital documents. So that was the day I spoke using my brother's phone. Then the next day, so the next day is when everything like rapidly goes rapid. So I was on the phone. My dad had called some, and these pastors were constantly at the hospital praying for my mom and keeping her in good hope. So they were praying for her, and I was on the phone, and my mom takes the phone. So she said, let me talk to my daughter, so me. And she looked at me and she said, Akinyi, I know you have tried so much. She was saying this in my mother tongue. And she said, even if I go, I pray that the Lord blesses you. And in that moment, I just lost it. I was like, Mom, don't talk like that. You haven't seen me in 4 years. You haven't held your granddaughter. Stop talking like that. But she kind of had this insisting. My mom was always like an insisting person. And she wanted me to know that. And so she said, can I see my granddaughter? And I said, here she is. So I was crying. Like at that moment, I was literally crying. But I was showing her her granddaughter. And she said, look, that's my granddaughter, my last granddaughter. And I was like, Mom, why are you talking like that? And my dad took the phone and was like, yo, your mom is joking. Sometimes she's like, right now she just needs you to pray even more for her. So stop crying. And then another pastor took the phone. There were two pastors who I grew up knowing. So they took the phone and they were like trying to encourage me. And then honestly, there's some, I'm kind of blocking out some things in my head because I just don't want to cry so much. But after that phone call, I called my sisters and my brother, and I told them, Mom isn't doing very good. She's talking very negatively. You all should go and see her, even if it's today. So my younger sister was actually leaving work to go and see my mom. Well, our mom. My older brother was going to get the medical work because he had called me at 3 a.m. to tell me I am taking this paperwork. I'm taking these medical documents so that we can see if she gets transferred. And then my older sister was at school, so I did call her and she did respond. And so everybody was getting ready to go and see Mom. And then I told my younger sister, when you get there, video call me. Because my mom, remember, she was on morphine. And because she was on morphine, there are times where she would fall asleep. So it was around that time where she was asleep. So I didn't want to just constantly call. And so when I just said when my sister would go, she would video call and then I would talk to my mom again. So the time where she was supposed to be there had already passed and she hadn't called. So 2 hours later, she hadn't called. And so I just called her on video call. Then she hung up and then she tells me, I don't want to talk on video call. I want to talk on voice call. So I was like, that's odd. So I call her on voice call and I said, have you seen Mom? And she just was very quiet on the phone. And she said there were some complications. and Mom has passed away. In that moment, I thought it was a dream. I got out of bed because it was in the middle of the night. It was like 3 in the morning. I just got out of bed and I got outside the bedroom just a little bit. And my whole body was on the floor and I was just scratching the floor because I couldn't believe it. I was screaming. And Benjamin got out of bed, he went to get the baby. I was just scratching the floor because what can you do? And my sister was still on the phone and she was crying. In that moment, it all felt like it was a dream. I just wanted to be woken up from that dream. I literally thought I was dreaming. And I was just sitting there thinking, I really hope this is a dream. So I was like, wake up. And I wasn't waking up because I was already up. And I was worried because my sister had gone. She found my mom had passed away. And she was trying to say, Mom, wake up. My mom had already left. And I felt so sad for her because she had to see them. My dad. In that moment, I was thinking about everybody. My older sister, my brother. My baby had lost her grandma. I lost my mom. My precious mom. I'm never gonna have her back. And we're never gonna have those phone calls again. I'm left with memories. How do I live? I don't even know. The hardest part for me is that when I wake up, it's sorrow that fills me. And I look outside and the sun is shining the same. The birds are chirping the same. The trees are swaying the same. Everything looks normal and my whole world has stopped. The worst thing they don't tell you about when somebody has passed away is, especially if they passed away at the hospital, is that the hospital is like, well, they've passed away. You now need to take care of the medical bills, and her medical bills, even with us sending that much money here and there, it had accumulated to 650,000 Kenyan shillings. That's around $6,000, which we had to clear. Then we had to send her body to the morgue, which is more money. And then you kind of are not mourning at all. It's everything that needs to be taken care of. And then she passed away 2 days prior to me going for my interview. So I'm going to the interview and I'm just thinking, Mom, we could have waited 2 more days or 1 more week. I could have come. So at the interview, they had to give me an emergency stamp. They did issue my green card, but by the time the green card comes, it would have come in. The funeral would have already happened, so they had to give me a special stamp on my Kenyan passport, and then that's what I used to travel back to Kenya with. And we traveled back, and it was really hard. All of us, it was so hard for all of us. We just could not believe it. Even now, as I'm talking about it, it's just something you cannot believe. I can't believe I'm not going to be saying, Mom, hi, Mom. When I got home, it was so emotional, because my mom is always there to welcome you to home. Even when I was back in Kenya and I would come home from work, she would say, my daughter, you're here, you're home. In my mother tongue, she would say, Nyathina. He said, oh, I didn't have that. When I walked into the room, all I could see is her in every room. I could see her, but I couldn't. I went into her shop, and I could see where she normally sits, but she wasn't there. Every part of the house that I used to see my mom, I could see her, but she wasn't there. We had some amazing people in the family who helped us, get ready and getting prepared for the funeral. My former classmates from high school did a fundraising for me and my family. I'm always going to be grateful. My online community, you guys. When we did the GoFundMe, we didn't know that anybody would help. But you guys went above and beyond. You did not know how much money we had spent on the hospital bills. That anything that you guys sent really helped. And we're always going to be so thankful. My family is always going to be so thankful. You guys we have never met, but you have my family. I pray that God bless you. And I'm always going to be so thankful. I don't know what else to say. It's really hard to lose a mother. I didn't think the last clothes she was sending my baby was going to be the last thing. She really, you guys, you don't know, my mom was very talented. She made me some really cute passes, and I didn't know she was making them for me. When I got home, they were like, this one your mom made for you. She was very selfless. She was very loving. And I don't know how I'm going to live without that. And now every day that it's 10 a.m. my time, it is always going to be something that I will always have some sort of pain. I miss my mom. I miss everything about her. I miss her voice. I just feel like the best part of my whole life has been ripped out from me. And maybe everybody kept saying we don't know what is God's plan. We really don't know what God has planned, and we really don't know. But I think my mom just needed a full healing, and that maybe that, I don't know how to look at it. But even though we did our best, I just still feel like I could have done more. But my mom was in pain. She couldn't eat well. She couldn't sleep well. I don't know what else I could have done. So if your mom is still alive, cherish every single moment. And you know, for me, here's the thing. I actually cherished every moment I had with my mom, even when it was over the phone. If she was calling, I never, ever, ever, ever didn't call back. If I missed a call from my mom, I would always call back, even if we had to speak for 2 minutes. And I would say, Mom, I got your missed call. And she would do the same. So I don't feel like any moment I had with my mom, I took it for granted. I didn't. And I didn't, and I didn't not take it for granted because it's not like you prepare for the worst, but I always treasured every moment I had with my mom. Even while it was over the phone, I treasured every single moment. I treasured every single moment. Even those little laughters, even those little conversations that led to nothing. Looking at her face, seeing her smile, me telling her, Mom, I love you, and she would say, I love you too, and she would say it in my mother tongue. Even in her last moment, she made sure that she told me, I love you and I'm so proud of you. That's the kind of woman she was. There were some bits of her life where she covered that pain because she didn't want us, her children, to know the amount of pain that she was in. But hearing her friends speak, and we now understood the scope of pain that she was in, which I think that's why I keep on thinking, what else could I have done? She was a wonderful mom. I'm so glad she was huge. There was a time, I think after she passed away, I just said, I think I wrote, cherish every moment you have with your mom. And there are some people who are writing, not everybody has a good relationship with their parent, which I understand. Not every parent is the greatest parent out there, but for me, I got the best mother. I wouldn't change her for anything. My mom had never laid a finger on me ever since I was a baby. Like, that one person you've never seen hit you, even as a joke? My mom had never. She just knew a way of reprimanding you without having to lay a finger on you. She was so special in so many ways. And those are the things that I feel like I'm missing the most. I am missing her tenderness. Like, she was just so tender with me. I've never met someone who's been that tender with me. Except my husband, but my mom was so tender. She was tender loving. There's no way anybody could ever love me the way my mom loved me. She loved me. When I say she loved me with all my imperfections, she loved me with all my imperfections. She was the one person I would always run for, just towards for advice. My best friend is gone. How do you move forward from that? Every morning I wake up and I remember I don't have my mom anymore. It's like I can't still believe it. And we got a candle. It's literally right here. Let me show you. Me and my siblings, I actually got a candle. This candle is vanilla coffee. I'm probably going to change it. And I got vanilla coffee because we would always talk in the morning while I'm having breakfast. So this is supposed to, I got it in the same size with all my other siblings so that we burn this candle to mourn our mom. And then once the candle has completely burnt out, we now just hold on to the memories. But I think I'm going to change the scent because I want something that is not coffee-like. And I'm so scared of starting to burn this candle because it just commemorates that I have already started the mourning period, and I don't want to, but I also need to. So me and my siblings agreed, every time we think about mom, every time we miss her, we just burn the candle, and it burns for a few hours and then we turn it off, and then the next day or the next week until it burns out. And then we now hold on to the memories. But for me, it has been very difficult to just take this candle and burn it. I haven't burnt it. I was telling Benjamin, I'm so afraid that if I start burning it, I'll forget her. And I know I won't. But I'm so broken. Her loss is so profound. I've never felt this much loss in my life. Even if I start burning this candle, I'm starting the process of, I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's healing or whatever it is. I don't think anybody ever forgets their parent, especially if you are super close. I was super close to my mom. Like, super close. You know, the interesting thing is that my mom was super close to every of her children in uniquely different ways. She was so close to me, but she was also close to my younger siblings. My younger sister. She was close to my older brother, and she was close to my older sister. Everybody had closeness to my mom, but uniquely to our own characters. That's the most interesting part about my mom. She had a balance with her children. She was perfect. Anyway, I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know how to end this video. I am just going to say I'm thankful for my online community. You guys showed out. You showed up and showed out for my family. And I don't know how else to appreciate you and say thank you to you. Everyone who donated, and everyone who wanted to but couldn't. I am going to always be grateful. Thank you for helping me send off my mom. I was able to go home. I was able to see my dad. He was able to hold his grandbaby. You know, at some point I was standing, because you know when they put the body in the casket, and I was standing there and I was looking at her and I was like, Mom, I brought Benjamin, and I brought your granddaughter, and she's right here. You can just breathe and then you can hold her. And I kept on looking at, you know how somebody when they breathe, I just kept on staring just to see if she'll breathe, or I kept looking at her eyes just to see if it would just blink a little bit, and there was no movement. And I looked at Benjamin and I was like, babe, she's not moving. She's not listening to me. That really broke my heart, because I thought, I don't know why I thought, I just thought if she had my voice, and if she had me telling her I brought your grandbaby, she would get up. And it broke my heart because she didn't get up. I don't think, guys, you understand how when you have lost someone, you're in disbelief. Even when they're right in front of you, you still have that hope that they'll get up, that they'll say, welcome home. You still have that hope. But I wrote in my eulogy and I said, I don't understand this. And even if I don't understand it, it's for the glory of God. Whether I understand it or not, God has a way of dealing with things, even if we don't understand it. So I'm trusting God that even as I am mourning the loss of my mom, that He has better days ahead, something, I don't know. He's gonna hold me together. Right now, things just don't make sense. Things just don't add up. And I'm just taking it one day at a time. I will say, when I did see her again, she looked exactly like herself. She had clear skin. My mom always had clear skin. She had clear skin. They did a little bit of lip gloss that had a tint of color on her lips. I was like, my mom with makeup? Because they have to make sure that the body looks great. And Connie's dad did an amazing job with, his honor made the dress, because he's a tailor, and he made the dress that she was wearing. She was dressed in all white, because the way the church back home does it, it's like that's your final wedding because you're going to the Lord. So she was dressed in white, not in a wedding dress, but in white, and she had this nice cute little birdcage veil on her head. It was so beautiful. She looked so beautiful, and I thought they made my mom look so beautiful. And sometimes I sit there and I wonder, if my mom was here, would she have been happy with the burial we gave her? I don't know. But she did look very beautiful. They dressed her very beautifully. They prepared her body very beautifully. I almost thought she was alive when I looked at her. I'm just gonna end the video here. I don't know when your person has passed on, it's very hard to hear what other people have to say, because in that moment you're trying to deal with your own emotions. But if there is something that you feel that will help me during this season, I am honestly reading everything right now. I've been reading what people have been telling me on Instagram, like how to deal with it. I have just can't believe I'm left with memories. I can't believe I won't be able to say Mom. I can't believe I will not be able to see a phone call ringing saying Mom. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'll have to be telling her, your grandmother was like this, or your grandmother was like this. All I can say is that my mom was a good mom. She was a great mom. She was just very loving. And I'm going to miss every bit of her.